Welcome to Scoop World Order. It is Beat Wisconsin Saturday. Camp Randall tonight, 7:30. Going to be a lively one up there. It always is. And we've got a very talented team that I think is very hungry and sees everything in front of them. So it's going to be a big one. But we just broke some new news on why the NCAA got to Michigan so fast. So this is Game of Thrones, Michigan, University of Michigan Trustees Edition. So we're going to get into all of that, take some questions, and keep grinding along as we count down to kickoff. That being said, as always, we appreciate you guys being a part of Buckeye Scoop, being a part of this channel. BuckeyeScoop.com is the number one source for Ohio State sports. And really, for scandals like this, we've got some really good insiders that are killing the game. So if you guys want the latest and greatest on Ohio State and what's going on with Michigan, join BuckeyeScoop.com. Again, our message board is absolutely cranking right now. It's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen it hotter in terms of how fast things are refreshing, and it's just absolutely nuts. So, but if you enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell. You'll get an alert every time we go live. This is kind of an impromptu show, just because we got some new information, and we want to share it with all of you guys. And also comment, where are you guys watching the game from? What are your plans? I like to hear those down in the comments. And we're going to get into it right now. Got my good friend in Nevadabuck. Nevada, this thing is just unbelievable. It feels like Game of Thrones. There's a lot of lies, a lot of deceit, a lot of backstabbing, a lot of stuff. But, again, I was like you. My eyebrows were raised almost off the top of my head when I saw how fast the NCAA, which moves like an iceberg, got to Ann Arbor. And that's when I was like, oh boy, this thing is really, really bad if they're there that fast. Talk a little bit about what the Oracle, who has just been killing it, grabbed for us. He broke some news a little bit ago.
Yeah, no, the Oracle, great insider on, Big Ten administration stuff. Expansion's broken so much expansion news. But he came out with something this morning that really got my attention, was that the request for expedited engagement from the NCAA came from, wait for it now, the Big Ten office and Michigan. And the distinction is between expedited review and expedited engagement. Expedited review would be what you'd ask for if you wanted to try to get rid of something really quickly. You felt like this was a nothing burger. You'd be like, hey, just come take a look at this and let's be gone. Expedited engagement is totally different. And that looks like that's coming from inside Michigan, which is really interesting. Because as we've been talking about, there's a large faction of people, large faction of Michigan admin, donors, higher ups that really don't like Jim Harbaugh, that really would like to get rid of Jim Harbaugh, that would like to move on from Jim Harbaugh and all his kind of craziness. And we've talked about like there's a lot of great coaches that could come in and have it's a premier job. And I think a lot of the Michigan fans are like, look, or not the fans, but the admin are like, look, we just don't need to deal with this anymore. And this would just be the last piece that I would need to convince me that most of these issues are coming from inside the house, that this is real-time Game of Thrones, and there's a lot of intrigue. But if Michigan fans are looking for the enemy, it's like, well, we have met the enemy, and he is us. And so it's Michigan man on Michigan man, and found that very interesting, and that's what broke this morning.
Yeah, and the third faction that you don't talk about is there's a lot of people that are big money people at every university that don't like football. So when football, because football usually is like the tip of the spear when it comes to the image of a university, and when someone like Michigan, when people don't like football, and then football is this gargantuan black eye cancerous tumor nationally in terms of perception, and these people don't like being made fun of. They don't like being pointed at, oh, you guys are cheaters, oh, you guys are dumb, oh, you guys had this little kid out there videoing with this little Keystone Cop, Spygate thing that you were doing. They don't like being embarrassed. So when that happens, again, this is the playbook. We've seen it with these coaches. When they screw up, man, I mean, the walls close in quick and the house of cards falls down. And again, we saw it with Pat Fitzgerald. I've said it 10 times this week. I've seen this movie before. I know how it ends. They don't say, hey, well, we're gonna, unless you're like Nick Saban and you're the greatest coach who's ever lived and there isn't a great replacement, these walls close in and they get rid of the thing. Because how do you stop from being a headline every single day on ESPN or Fox Sports or on Buckeye Scoop? you get rid of Jim Harbaugh, and then then everything shifts to the coaching search, and then everyone's basically cleared out their desks, and you've got a whole new energy coming into the building, because that's what's going to happen. It's just the variable in this thing is that Michigan is really good this year, and they're a top 3 team. And if they're good because of spying or talent or whatever it is, like, they're still a top 3 team. They have a chance to win a national championship. That's the only reason he's still there, because again, there's a faction that wants to win the national championship this year. They haven't won one since '97. So, winning. This isn't just a deodorant. I mean, this is like an overwhelming force. So, Nevada, what's the next step? Because, like, the thing about this thing is, I feel like every single day, the investigative reporters and the people across the country, they're looking for leaks. They're looking for stringers. They're looking for the people that were part of it. ESPN broke a great story yesterday where they interviewed one of these stringers who was, frankly, he got paid like $300 a game to go sit there, film the signals. Then he would shift his little camera and get the actual play, again, so that you can sync up the play, the signal with the coach's copy, because then it's basically the easiest thing in the world to break down. But what's next? Because, like, every day it's like there's a new story breaking, how deep it was, people are singing like canaries. What's next?
Well, look, I think you just got to kind of read the tea leaves on this stuff. And, we've talked about how the stringers will start coming out. More information will start coming out about the information that was found on Weiss's computer, and that's going to be interesting. We talked about the gambling. We talked about the practice video. We talked about using the OSU video director's credentials from remote access. There's just so many different elements to this. It's hard to say where it's going to go. But I think your point, though, was so spot on about the image of the university. The big money people, and the majority of those guys don't care about football. They care about the how they feel about Michigan at the country club, and they put up with football because it's a necessary evil. But when they're getting blasted, and when you can tell the worm has turned, when even on like something like game day, they're blasting them, because those guys never take a position like that. Those guys will they'll stick their finger up in the air and kind of figure, what's the way the wind blowing on this, and they have determined that where the wind's blowing is pile on Michigan. And so they piled on hard, and it's coming in all directions. I mean, it's coming on talk radio, it's coming on television, and it's not going to go away. And with the first rankings coming up, you're already hearing some people going, well, I don't really have Michigan in my top 4 yet because they haven't really played anybody. That's really their code for they were cheating, and I can't bring myself to put them in there right now. Just so much going on. And with Michigan, with the majority of the stuff leaking from inside Michigan, man, that's problematic for them. That is problematic for them, because those are the kind of leaks that don't stop. The leaks from outside you can stop. The leaks from inside you can't stop, because it's just drip, drip, drip. It's all coming out, and I think that spells big problems for Michigan.
Well, yeah, because, like, the problem is once they turn on you internally, you're done. Because the people that are at the highest points of Michigan, they have access to all the intel, all the insights. They can, hey, IT guy, I need you to go over to Schembechler Hall. I need you to go through these computers. I need you to find what is the worst stuff. We need to start internally interviewing people that were a part of this, starting with the lowest level staffers all the way up to Jim Harbaugh. And again, I think that it's almost to the point now where Jim Harbaugh's lied so many times that I don't even know if they take his interview serious, and they know they're going to fire him. So it's like, do you really want to waste your time when, I think that this is like one where they've got the search firms already kind of reaching out to their next potential coaching candidates. I think that'll be fascinating. Because again, like, the thing I've said a million times is, Jim Harbaugh, he interviewed with Minnesota 2 years ago. He interviewed with Denver this year. He's been trying to get out of there. And the weird thing for me is, like, I couldn't really figure out why. Obviously, he's abrasive. He doesn't stay anywhere for very long just because he rubs everybody the wrong way. But he's a great coach, and I mean, you can't go to the Super Bowl in the NFL and go to the playoffs with Michigan. And he took over a Michigan program that was terrible. But I was like, why is he trying to get out? And I feel like, again, even as weird as he is, he knew what they were doing. Eventually, this was going to get found out. Like it was just getting to be too big. The walls were caving in. Again, I keep saying that, but it's like, I mean, that's why he's trying to get out. I mean, he's trying to get out of his alma mater. A guy that it's probably his dream coaching job when he was growing up and when he was a quarterback at Michigan. Now he's the head coach at Michigan, and I'm like, why is he trying to leave a job where it's a top 5 job in college football? They've got infinite money, A+ prestige. This is like one of those dream destination jobs, and I'm like, why is he trying to leave that to go to the Denver Broncos and coach Russell Wilson? Like, it makes no sense. But I just think that when the guys at the top of the food chain, the guys on the board of the trustees, the guys that are, the people that don't like football, when they've got like this nuclear bomb that they can detonate on the program, they're going to do it. Because again, the one thing I know about really rich people and really powerful people, and I learned this from the ones I interact with at Ohio State, is when that brand is tarnished and when they are embarrassed to wear the block O or the block M, then whoever did the embarrassment is going to get their heads chopped off. Because again, those people, they're proud of their university. They've given, some of these people have given like guys like Stephen Ross have given hundreds of millions of dollars to Michigan. And when they walk around and they're wearing that Michigan M, they everyone snickers, everyone laughs, everyone, oh, you guys are dumb, like how dumb you guys are. Oh, you guys cheated. Like that's I'm telling you, I don't know why that's such a powerful force. It's kind of like when we lose a football game and people put their Ohio State stuff in the closet. Like losing a game, it's embarrassing, or losing a playoff game is embarrassing, depending on the fashion. If we get blown out, whatever, losing to Purdue, whatever, people put their stuff away. But like this is 100 times worse because, these kids aren't robots. They're going to lose games. But when you get caught cheating and it's so ham-handed and it's such a Three Stooges looking operation, like, that's bad. And when people keep digging, and again, the thing that's fascinating is there's just going to keep being more layers of detail that come out, into how dumb this thing was. And this guy went to the Penn State Rutgers game and he left at halftime because he said, well, they're not paying me enough to sit here in the rain and film these signals, so I'm going to leave because you're only paying me $100 or whatever. You'll just like, I don't know, it'll be mind blowing. Nevada, what's next? I mean, again, like every day, it seems like, I feel like when I wake up in the morning, is this the day that Jim Harbaugh gets whacked and they promote the offensive coordinator, or do they just ride this thing out until the end of the year?
Well, I don't think the Michigan. I think there's a faction within Michigan that does not want to ride this thing out, and they don't want this thing to continue. I mean, can you imagine? You know how it is. Like you're talking about every day. You're viewing this every day. Can you imagine going every day through like January with this? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it would just like another 70 days of this, or another
Oh my
80
God.
days of the, and I can't imagine that the people of Michigan are happy about this. The people at the admin, the power brokers, the people that really the straws that stir the drink. And again, we go back to the time. When did this all start happening? Harbaugh's just gonna he's looking for a way, any way to beat Michigan or to beat Ohio State. And then Jay comes to Dad and he's like, Dad, I've got a great idea. Met this guy, and we can do it. And Jim's like, don't tell me the details, but yeah, that sounds good, Jay. Well done. Nice job, son. Grandpa would be proud. And then they just went out there, and like you said, it's the Keystone Cops. It's like these, you know, let's do it in our own name. Let's put it the tickets and on a Michigan credit card. Let's have a budget. Let's go do. I mean, it just this whole thing was such a clown show. And again, you wouldn't take it seriously if the guy wasn't given the place of honor on the sideline. I mean, if this was just some sort of thing, some back room action that never really saw the light of day, and we were like, we don't even know who this good this guy is. No, this
Yeah.
guy was the man at Michigan.
Yeah.
He was the golden
Yeah.
child. He was the guy that everybody wanted. A little bit. Oh man, this guy's got he's discovered a way to identify vulnerabilities in other teams and how to exploit their weaknesses. And wow, what a genius! Who would have thought of that? And he invented the workaround of if you hire someone else to do it, it's not against the rules
Oh my
because
God.
it's not you. And the Michigan
Oh.
fans are going, well, you can hire third party contractors to do it because it's not you. And it's like, man, that Michigan education you might as well just
Throw it in the trash.
I was gonna say
Throw it in the
flush it down the
trash
toilet.
can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like guys, no, you can't get around rules by just
yeah.
using third parties. Doesn't work that way. So
Yeah,
you know,
you can't hire someone to murder somebody else and then all of a sudden say, "Well, I didn't do it." Like, well, you did everything else. Like you set it up, you bought the tickets. And here's the thing: you could say, "Well, they didn't directly film the film," but these coaches all had access to the iCloud drive that had the photo album that had the videos in it. So it's like, yeah, like once you're in that realm and you've accessed it, because again, all the stuff on a computer owned device is traceable. So, you get on your Michigan iPad, your Michigan iPhone, your Michigan laptop, every keystroke that you put in, every mouse click, they can trace all of that. They get a record of all of that. So that's going to be interesting because like they're going to say, oh, well, Sherrod Moore watched 80 hours of, Ohio State practice video or 80 hours of signals or whatever, or the D coordinator or whatever. Like that's what's going to be fascinating is as this unravels, can the Michigan brass, the billionaires and millionaires that run Michigan, the people at the top of Michigan, deal with another 7? Because I feel like when did this break? Like a week ago, 10 days ago? Like, I mean, and it's just been like every day there's been another like artillery strike that's hitting the front newspapers because it's so salacious that these reporters, they're just like in a feeding frenzy to find the next person to interview, to find the next detail. I'm sure that, again, when you've got people at the top of the university who have access to everything, when they really want to crank it up, they can just leak stuff. That's like what John U. Bacon talked about how, this guy at the top of the university hates Harbaugh and he's leaking stuff to the media. Like, that's how it works, because again, like there's all's fair in love and war. And when you hate somebody like Jim Harbaugh and you can leak stuff to Pete Thamel or to Pat Forty or any of the other national guys, like that's just it's going to get big run. People frankly can't get enough of this story. But yeah, I think that I just it'll be interesting to see how these next couple weeks go. It'll be interesting. What's going to be real interesting is see how's it going to be when these guys play. Now, obviously they play Purdue next. Purdue stinks. They'll probably beat them by 80 points. But what's the reaction going to be to these guys actually taking the field? Because like I couldn't imagine. Well, actually, I can imagine. I can imagine being in the facility when this thing's swirling because it's the same thing as the Tressel thing. Like I was on staff when Tress had the buzzard circling us, and he ends up getting whacked on Memorial Day. And like I remember the lead up to that, it was like every single day there was another interview or another sources deal, and then the Sports Illustrated thing dropped after he got whacked. And again, I've lived this, and I know how it ends, and I know how this is going to end for Jim Harbaugh. It's just, the question, like I said, is who do they, if you do whack Harbaugh, what do you do? Because like the coordinators are just as complicit, really, like the whole staff is. So I mean, it's not like you can fire Harbaugh and then put one of those guys up at the top, and then all of a sudden keep trudging along through the season. So Nevada, does Harbaugh get the season? Does he survive the season and then get whacked after the season? Is that what you think is going to happen?
I mean, that's the open question. I think it's a little bit unknowable right now. I just don't know how they can go through another 70 days of this. And and I take you back to the Wayback Machine of when you lived through the whole Tressel thing and all the
Mm-hmm.
craziness and all the wildness, and think about what that was about. That was about tattoos and trinkets and stuff like that. Like this is about 80 gajillion times worse than that. And it's like it's not, there's just it's not going to go away. No matter how many times the Michigan people try to paint this guy as the lone wolf operative, or now how many times they try to say, "Oh no, we could do it. It was okay." It's not going away. It is absolutely not going away, and that's going to be a problem for them. That's a problem that they're going to have to deal with. How do I think you deal with? I think they're going to have to. I mean, Harbaugh is the only one that people could offer up that would make it worthwhile for them for the feeding frenzy to stop. Otherwise, it's not going to stop. There's no way to stop it. There's no way to stop it. And so I think as a Michigan fan, it sucks. We've lived through it. It's it's horrible, but something. Too bad. Shouldn't have
Yeah.
cheated.
Yeah, we don't really care. We love that you guys are in
No,
agony and
no.
pain right
Oh,
now. Actually,
oh
I
yeah.
enjoy it every day. Like when I'm drinking my coffee in the morning, I'm like, oh, Michigan people are worried about, oh God, who's our next coach going to be? Are we going to survive the season?
But Kirk, but they earned it, dude. Like this one,
Yeah.
this is not like one of those ones where you're like, well, this is kind of like, dude, they earned this. This one,
Yeah.
everything they get on this one, they absolutely begged for and earned. And so I don't suffer fools, and I have no problem with what happened to them because they asked for it. You asked for it, and you get it.
Yeah, I just think that, like you said, the next 70 days are going to be completely fascinating. I think the only scenario where he doesn't finish the season is if he loses to Ohio State and he gets docked enough that they don't make the playoffs, and all of a sudden they're in a worthless bowl game and they whack him immediately after that, because that's the thing that, like I said, like winning is a great deodorant, and these guys have a chance to win a national championship. But if he loses to Ohio State, I mean, he's gone. Like, I mean, they'll fire him the next day because they don't need him for the Capital One Bowl or for some worthless non-playoff game. But yeah, this is going to be treacherous because I don't think in my lifetime I've ever seen a scandal like this where a team is literally like a top 2-3 team in the nation and they potentially could move on their head coach any day, or they can wait till the end of the season. Like, that's the thing that's crazy. And again, when you've got Michigan people calling and getting the NCAA in there like immediately, probably bought their private jet airfare to get them in there to start digging around and seeing what they can find. Like, that is fascinating because even if you're winning and you're undefeated and all this other stuff, there are still people inside the university that hate you because you're such an abrasive idiot. So final thoughts, Nevada. Maybe a little bit of a prediction for Wisconsin, because again, like I feel like we've talked about Wisconsin literally almost not at all because the Michigan thing is so big. But what are your thoughts on the game tonight?
I think the Ohio State wins. I think it's probably going to be closer than people might like, and I think it could be one of those games. And what I'd say, my final thoughts are, it's like the old saying, how did it happen? A little at first and then all at once. That's what's going to happen with this scandal. A little at first and then all at once. So sucks to be Michigan. Sorry, guys, but your time's coming, man.
No, I totally agree. We'll wrap this thing up. I know you guys are watching your noon games right now, big 3:30 games, and then the Bucks are playing at Camp Randall tonight. We appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, if you enjoy this content, leave us a like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert button. Join BuckeyeScoop.com. We're going to have a huge game thread tonight, instant analysis on every play. It's really a blast. We love being on there. Our site is absolutely crazy. So if you want the #1 premium experience in college football, join BuckeyeScoop.com. Love to have you join part of the Scoop family. Shout out where you guys are watching from. I saw my Portsmouth boys down here, my Southern Ohio boys. So just, as always, we appreciate all your support. We appreciate you guys enjoying the content. Leave us a like on the way out the door. Those are huge for us. And comment. I want to know, what are your plans for the game? You hosting a party? You going out to a bar? What are you guys doing? I'd love to hear what you guys are up to. And give me a little score prediction. Put that down in the comments as well. Again, I read every comment. I love reading what you guys think of the game and what you guys are up to. So thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. I'm going to talk to you guys probably tonight. We're going to do a post-game show. So I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a good day. Let's watch some college football. I'll see you guys on BuckeyeScoop.com. Go Bucks.